Hi everyone, I'm Melanie Gabby and welcome to this program. If you haven't watched the introduction video, do so because there's a lot of information in there about the program, how it works, what questions people are asking about what they're opening up to, as well as some tips and ideas about how to move forward. But if you've watched the introduction video, great and welcome to day one. And I thought I would start with what is spiritual awakening? The call to change, grow, and transform. Um, Spiritual Awakening and Personal Power series is here to help you with your curiosity because something is shifting inside or because life has pushed you to a turning point. You're in the right place. The journey is more than learning, it's about remembering, it's about healing, growing, and awakening and reclaiming your power. It's a way of being real, grounded, and being uniquely you. So, spiritual awakening isn't just about having mystical experiences or reaching a higher states. So, people talk about these things when they talk about their journey of ayahuasca or they go to a Kundalini camp or festival. And some people do have very powerful experiences. But for most people, it's a average everyday series of just doing what you do in your day-to-day life of going to work, raising the kids, um, cooking, cleaning, going shopping, and then starting to be curious about more about what else there is in life. But also a part of this is about waking up from the old conditioning. So the conditioning is the kind of ideas that you generated about yourself when you were growing up that led you to believe what you do, value what you do, how you see yourself, your identity, what kind of things you do, and what your ideas are about family, community, religion, spirituality, and more. It's also about questioning the life that you've been living, and people start doing that often when they've hit a crisis, lost a job, moving from one country to the next, had a serious accident or a health crisis. And sometimes just a realization that there's more. There's just sometimes something in you, which is the way I experienced it from probably really young, but I wasn't old enough to understand what it was. I was sort of trying to figure out from about 8 years old because all we had access back then was either you went to church or you didn't. There wasn't really any books around that I remember being able to access. Maybe they were in the library. But I would say I'd become more conscious of this from about the age of 18 and massively conscious from probably 2000, no, 1995, and then a few times after that. So for me, it's been a series of stages. Would I call that a spiritual awakening years ago? No. But the more I started entertaining different practices like meditation, yoga, mindfulness, and then things that I was involved with in my work around helping people improve their mental health and just feel better, then this was this culmination of what we were turning what Freud's model about distress and dis-ease and illness of the mind, to positive psychology of where we've gone in the last 100 years. It's also a sense that you might not even feel like the person that you used to be, or that the old ways, habits, beliefs, and relationships don't fit anymore. And it can also, like I said, come from a crisis, grief, burnout, and a sudden breakthrough. So for me, it came in waves, some gentle, some overwhelming. And I go through breakdowns, breakthroughs, deep healing, and joyful expansion. And over the last 4 decades, I've learned that awakening isn't a one-time event, it's a lifelong process of us becoming. So even if you have a huge experience with psychedelics or ayahuasca, Kundalini, at a workshop, some profound connection. One of the things that we have to do is also get back to normal everyday life. And sometimes that can be extremely difficult for people who've had a massive shift. So it can feel like a call to change, grow, and transform. And this series is built around this one truth. We're always being called to change, grow, and transform. It's natural human evolution. We're not the people we were when we were 15, 16, 17, of the people we came into our 20s or the people that we became in our 30s. We are an accumulation of experiences that have informed the way that we see the world and the way that we see ourselves. And you might even be asking, there's more to life than this. I want to live more deeply, more truly. Something inside me is ready to shift. So it's not just about becoming someone else. Often it's about coming back to ourselves. And I would say I only really got a real grasp of what that meant probably in the last few years, even though I've been on this journey in lots of different ways down these meandering paths. So this is about helping you, as I said in the previous video, understanding yourself more deeply, your values. The idea is when we align with our values, and there are separate values exercises that you can do. You can pull that down off YouTube, Google. Examining your beliefs. Are they yours? Are they sedimented? Are you stuck? Do you get stuck in ideas? Your past wounds that influence your capacity to enjoy life and have fun at the moment, and your desires. And you'll begin to learn to honor through your own self practice and your own self care what is ready to emerge next. So today's mental health insight is awakening can often bring up old wounds, confusion, and anxiety. And like I said, I started my therapy training in 1995, and up until that point, I hadn't really delved into anything because I left school at around 14, 15. When I say left, I just stopped going around 14, 15. So, and I only studied music, social studies, and I think cooking. And I then went straight into work from when I was 16 and had a range of jobs working in the hotel and catering industry. I had got married, had children, struggled with my own mental health at that time. And on other videos, I talk about the sort of transformation I was going through at the time, which I didn't realize. I just thought it was postnatal depression, but it was huge. It was an opening, a massive opening. And I think I started to then consciously explore things when I started to do my therapy training. So my youngest son, I think, was about 2 or 3. He had massive health issues. I was in and out of hospital with him. Um, he had some serious illnesses. My other son had already been diagnosed with diabetes, so we just lived in and out of the health system, in and out of hospitals. And I started studying to be a therapist. And when you study as a therapist, you cannot not learn something about yourself. Because when your desire is to work with other people, you really need to understand yourself quite well. So each phase of those journeys, you become aware of your wounds at those phases of what you're learning about yourself, your own moods, your own history, how your parenting has impacted you, your confusion, or even anxiety. And this is because the nervous system interprets change as a threat, even when change is good. So if you're feeling uncertain, emotional, or tender, know that this is normal. You're not doing anything wrong, you're just in that process. Sometimes the ego tries to prevent us from taking action, growing, and changing, and will do things to try and stop us. So, psychologically, this aligns with Carl Jung's ideas on individuation, becoming whole by integrating both the light and the shadow. And I will talk about the shadow with you. So, the prompts to get you going, okay, get your pen out, hopefully, you're in that safe space, is what in my life feels like it's shifting or calling me to change? When have I most connected to something deeper, either within or beyond myself? What am I ready to release or outgrow right now? And what would it mean for me to honor this awakening? And like I said, I'll add research, personal anecdotes. So I'm going to put the journal prompts at the bottom of the video so that you can read each one again. Take a picture of that part of the video. So you've got them on your phone so you can work, sit in the garden, have some time out, or in your room. And I'll share more about what that's meant to me as we move forward. So the tarot card related to this is the Judgment. And the Judgment card if you connect with imagery and colors, everything in the tarot cards is imagery, symbology, colors, and even numerology in some of them. This is the card of awakening, inner calling, and rebirth. And it asks, are you ready to rise into your next chapter? If you're with me on this journey, then you are, because I am. Okay. And it reminds us that something deep is ready to be heard, healed, and released. And if you want a crystal that helps you with this, you can get an amethyst. And the amethyst helps with your spiritual awakening and protection. And amethyst supports clarity, insight, and connection in your higher self. If we look at using crystals using psychology, there's something around how we can build a connection with an object. And when we think of that object, when we're holding that crystal, we can be feeling good. And that is, in NLP terms, anchoring us to a good feeling state. And that object becomes meaningful and connects us, helps connect us with that idea of us connecting with ourselves. So the wisdom with this today is from Joseph Campbell, the mythologist behind the hero's journey. We must be willing to let go of life we plan, so it is a life that is waiting for us. And from the psychologist Abraham Maslow, what a man can be, he must be. This need we call self-actualization. Awakening is the beginning of actualizing your potential. And if you want to find out more about Abraham Maslow's work, you can see the triangle. If you put in Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you'll see that self-actualization is at the top of that triangle, but at the bottom, to begin the whole process, uh, the the base of the house is food, water, shelter, love, feeling safe. That's the basis. We need that. So if you're in a situation where you're not, find a safe space within any place, whether that is, somewhere at work or a friend's place or in the park next to the river, or a safe space in the house. And I actually had a friend who for a couple of decades lived with a partner that was his mood shifted a lot and he was emotionally abusive, and she created an oasis within her house, within the bedroom that she had, and her and her son used to spend a lot of time in there, and that's what helped her feel safe for a long time. So awakening begins with subtle ways, through our dreams, inner knowings, synchronicities, and simply feeling done with the old chapter. So today, just breathe and say, I'm ready to move forward and be excited and curious as to what can unfold. I look forward to seeing you on the next video and sharing your journey with me.